There we go.
On to Sunday games.
Yep. Sunday spreads. Sunday spreads. Two of the best words.
Yeah,
Sunday spread. So, guys, we pick our top 5 spreads for Sunday. You know, we throw them together here. We each take some. Sometimes we're against each other. Other times we're for each other. Other times we got different games. So we each alternate back and forth. So I'll have Grant go first with his first Sunday spread.
So, first Sunday pick, first Sunday game. We're across the pond. We're in Ireland. First time the NFL has had a regular season game there.
Ireland. Okay.
Ireland. It's in Dublin. First time the NFL has had a regular season game there. I want to say they had a preseason game there in 97. I could be wrong on the date, but the Steelers were a part of that. So it's fitting the Steelers are a part of this game, but they are going to lose. They are going to lose, and they are not going to cover the 2.5. It's a big number here, 2.5. You rarely lose by 1 or 2 points in the NFL. If you're favored by 2.5 points, it's not quite this. Like, I don't want to be irresponsible and say it is the same, but it is kind of similar to just win on the money line. You'll probably cover the 2.5 points. The Vikings defense this season has been incredible. And I want to read you a number here. I get it. It's a little bit nerdy, but EPA is one of the best stats that we have in all of football. Actually might be the best stat in terms of just who's performing the best. So believe it or not, the second best defense in the NFL right now belongs to the Jaguars, which is crazy according to EPA per play. After that, you got the Packers, the Chargers, the Rams, the Broncos. Like, it all makes sense. The Vikings EPA per play on defense is more than twice better than the second best team in the NFL, which is the Jaguars. They are dismantling everybody that is in front of them. I don't know if you saw some of these plays that Brian Flores is doing with his disguises, but there was one play last week where they come out in a bomb blitz. They've got like 9 guys up on the line of scrimmage. Then they back off to what looks like a cover 2. Then they morph. This is all pre-snap. The quarterback is making his checks. They then morph into what looks like a cover 1 man, and then they snap the ball, and it's cover 6 with cover 4 on one side and cover 2 on the other. I have no idea how you're supposed to handle that as a quarterback. And what I've got to say, this is a cap tip to Brian Flores, but also like, how hasn't this been coming? With the way offenses use motion to kind of manipulate everything that's going on, why have we not seen defenses do that more and more? And I get it. Maybe it's because you don't snap the ball, so you can't control when the play starts and you don't want to be out of position. But you're seeing Jonathan Gannon does it. Brian Flores does it. There's so much movement on the defensive side of the ball that's messing with quarterbacks. What we know about Aaron Rodgers is he can still sling the ball like he did when he's a young man, but that doesn't happen very much. He's much more prone to throw an interception, to check the ball down, to make these high-risk, low-reward sort of plays. And with the offense that the Vikings can have with, I get it, Carson Wentz, but with Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson and Jordan Mason in that running game and that offensive line, they can win this game. And if they win, they probably cover the 2.5.
So I also have Vikings minus 2.5 as one of my spreads for the day. So I'll just expand on a little bit. We did a nice job covering it there. I think as far as what Brian Flores does as a defensive coordinator, it's going to confuse Jake Browning a lot more than it's going to confuse Aaron Rodgers. I think that's the one thing that you're not going to get in this game is Aaron Rodgers being confused too much to a point where it looks like what Jake Browning did last week, because that was disgusting. What the Bengals' whole offensive effort was disgusting. But when you look at Aaron Rodgers specifically, I do think he's going to pick up a lot of what Brian Flores is able to do. I don't know if he's going to be able to execute off that. I think we're going to see a vanilla game plan from the Pittsburgh Steelers, one where they try to run the football. And then defensively, they're just going to try to hang in there. Last week, the Steelers should have lost to the Patriots. The Patriots handed that game away on a silver platter. Steelers made plays when they had to. I just don't think they're that good of a football team offensively or defensively right now. They're giving up yards on defense. I think the Vikings are much better with Carson Wentz than they are with JJ McCarthy. And then on the flip side, Steelers on offense, they're not this high-powered attack. You know, they're going to make plays down the field, but it's nothing to fear. So as long as the Vikings can keep the score down defensively, I think they win and cover in this game.
Aaron Rodgers, 22nd in QBR this season. In the last 2 games, he's averaging 170 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
He still can sling it. I don't want to take that away from Aaron.
He can make a big play. He cannot be a great quarterback on every play.
He can be a winning quarterback. You just have to have the right team around him.
I don't know.
I'd rather have him than Carson Wentz for sure.
Well, okay, yeah, I would rather have Aaron Rodgers than a backup quarterback, but I don't know. Would I rather have Geno Smith or Dak Prescott on this
Not
Steelers
Geno.
team? On this Steelers team, I'd rather have both of them than Aaron Rodgers.
Geno is terrible. My
No,
God.
he's not.
Geno is so bad at football. It's insane. Dak, I will take Dak any day over Aaron Rodgers. Geno is terrible. Geno should not be a starting quarterback right now in the NFL based on what he's done. He is so bad, Grant. Come on.
Would you rather have Daniel Jones or Aaron Rodgers?
Well, right now, the way Daniel Jones is playing, I'll take Daniel Jones. But I'm not taking Geno over him. I think Geno's still a backup quarterback in my mind. 4 touchdowns.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of backup quarterbacks who have starting jobs right now.
Yeah, like Geno's a backup quarterback. Sam Darnold's a backup quarterback. Daniel Jones most likely is a backup quarterback. Like there's a lot of – it's hard to find 32 really good quarterbacks. That's what I'm seeing. As great as all these quarterbacks are in college, we really struggle to get 32 good ones in the NFL.
Okay, so we both have the same pick there. Let's go to our second pick. And I think, did I? Oh, no, I didn't. I lost my page there. Okay, my second pick. I'm interested to hear what you're going to have to say about this. I think you might like it just from how you've spoken about this guy and this team in the past. But I'm going to go down to H-Town, but I'm not taking the Texans. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans plus 7.5. So back to EPA, which I get. It's not the most accessible stat in the world, but you guys got to trust me. Probably the most representative stat that we have in football. So despite how awful Cam Ward has looked this season, and let me pull up his numbers. So he's 31st in the NFL with a QBR of 23. He's averaging about 165 passing yards per game, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception through 3 games. The Titans are 0-3. They've lost by 8 points, 14 points, and 21 points. So I'm not trying to paint them out as these world beaters. However, despite how awful their offense has been, they are 31st in EPA per play on offense. The Texans are 29th, so they are barely ahead of them. As far as staying ahead of the chains, these teams are nearly identical. Houston does have a better defense, but their defense is just about average, whereas the Tennessee Titans defense is bad. But if you got a bad offense, then how are they going to get past a bad defense? I think this is, once again, a low-scoring game between 2 offenses and 2 quarterbacks that are struggling. But I tell you what, when I look at who has the room for improvement, the Titans lead the NFL in drop rate. They're also 31st in pass blocking win rate. Catch the football, win a block, and this offense can legitimately look a lot better. With the Texans, I don't know. We know they don't have the pieces in place because their offensive line stunk last year, and then they traded their best offensive lineman, Laramie Tunsil. They can't run the football. There's something CJ Stroud can't the drills where you throw the ball into the net. He must be terrible at those because he can't hit open guys in the middle of the field. There's something broken about this team right now. So I'll take the Titans they can lose by a touchdown and they can still cover their spread.
DeMeco Ryans, not a good head coach. That's what we're seeing.
Okay.
It's on the head coach, first of all. If you gotta
he's a defensive guy, though, and their defense has been noticeably better ever since he got there.
Yeah, but it's not about your defense being good. It's about running the organization well. And they're not. I
think more than anything, I think some of their roster decisions, and that the GM bears responsibility for that too. Their roster decisions have been questionable to me. I don't know what coach. Well, I don't know why. So they get Christian Kirk, right? Which, okay, I get it. What's his name? Tank Dell has an injury, need to replace him, but they get Christian Kirk, and then they draft 2 receivers in the second round. I think both in the second round or second and third round. You had one of the worst offensive lines in football. You trade your best offensive lineman, you don't replace anybody. Why are we not trying to rebuild that?
I mean, I think Christian Kirk also was not great last weekend, but I would have thought Christian Kirk would have done a little more. They just can't throw the ball. Nico Collins is limping out there basically half the time. Like he's been good around the red zone, but he's not Nico Collins is not what we're expecting out of a 26-year-old feature receiver by any means. Yeah. I think offensively, once teams got tape on CJ Stroud, it was over. He hasn't been able to adapt much. I don't know. I think GMs and head coaches should be paired, and obviously they're the first to go. And then the quarterback situation. I mean, there's no excuse for CJ Stroud getting worse, and that's when I think it's on the coach, the coaching staff. I'm not just saying him, but you're the one who brings in everybody. And when a head coach gets fired, they all go. It's not just one.
No, we're past the sophomore slump now. This is year 3 for Stroud, and it looks like his worst year.
Yeah. So I like it. I don't think the Texans can beat anybody by 7.5 points. I think that's impossible. So I do think that's a good bet for you.
Okay, cool. Let's hear your pick.
All right. So my pick, we're going to go to Foxborough, New England, Boston, Patriots. Take the Patriots minus 5.5 against the Carolina Panthers. I look at this game. This is served up on a silver platter of how much do you care? How much do you care about winning football games? Because when you look at the New England Patriots right now, they didn't care last weekend. They didn't protect the football. 5 turnovers. That was disgusting. Vrabel had, a lot of good things to say after the game. He talked about how you can't turn the ball over and how they're going to be better. And, Ramondre Stevenson fumbling inside the 5-yard line, having the ball multiple times inside the 5-yard line, getting no points. Like, that's one that it just does not sit well with you. That's one that when I'm the opponent of that team the next week, I should be scared for my life because they're going to come out and kill us. And that's what I expect with the Patriots this week. You hired Vrabel for bounce back games like this. I expect the mistakes to be fixed. They weren't necessarily fixed in the Dolphins game. They were poor tackling, but they found a way to go to Miami and win after a really bad loss at home. They responded. Let's see them do it again. Minus 5.5 should be no problem here. Carolina is not good. I know they won 30-0 last week against the Atlanta Falcons, but Michael Penix decided not to play football or forgot how to play football last week to a point where he had to put Kirk Cousins in the game. So it's just a spot where I think this is a prime bounce back spot for the Patriots. Drake May needs to learn how to control the football, hold on to it. Ramondre Stevenson's got to be better. Get Travion Henderson in there. Get Ramondre Stevenson off my football team. And I think the Patriots go in and cover 5.5. Defense played really well in the second half against the Steelers. If they bring that early in the game, they're going to be just fine.
So this did not make my list of picks. However, this is my pick for this game, as you know, and hopefully the audience knows by now. If you don't, then make sure you pay attention here. I write spread picks and descriptions and previews of every single game every week throughout the NFL season over at WSN.com. I haven't finished it for this week, but I have gotten to this game, and I did end up taking the Patriots minus 5.5. One thing that I wrote down was both these teams are wildly inconsistent. But for the Panthers, it's very game to game. With the Patriots, it's drive to drive. In other words, they might fumble on the 1-yard line on this drive, but on the next drive, they're probably going to score a touchdown. And then they might throw an interception, but then they're probably going to drive the field and score a touchdown. With the Panthers, I don't know that they're going to score 10 points in this game just because I have no clue. That team that scored that 130-0 last week, I know they're not showing up. I know that much. But do I know they're going to get to 20 points? No. Do I know that they're going to get to 10 points? No, I don't. And even in that win last week, it's not like Bryce Young was making these plays to make you think, oh, this is a franchise quarterback who can go on the road and win us games. No, they are so incredibly high right now after that victory that they're going to start to come down, and the Patriots are going to be pissed. Like, Vrabel is probably, he might have them running, he's going to have them running hills with weighted vests. I don't know what he's going to be doing
that. This is the NFL, Grant. He's not going to be this isn't Division III, okay? But I'm sure he's going to have them ready to go.
Yeah, he's going to inflict some sort of cruel and unusual punishment on them. And that they could have won that game. Let's make that clear. If Pop Douglas doesn't run backwards on 4th and 1,
so
they're on like the 30-yard line with a chance to tie that game after they committed 5 turnovers.
Well, so the Pop Douglas play, like, Drake did not put the ball where it needed to be. He kind of threw the ball backwards, but how dumb. There's multiple dumb aspects of this play. It's not Pop Douglas. It's Demario Douglas. Nobody can have a name as cool as Pop Douglas until they learn how to run forward. Okay. So
sorry.
Drake threw it back. First of all, we have to run the route past the sticks by default. Yeah. The route should never be run behind the sticks. The ball should not, 4th and 1 game on the line. We cannot run a route behind the sticks. I hate when coaches do that. They do it too much. And I don't think this play was designed to be past the sticks. The play call is probably, hey, Pop or Demario, get to the sticks and turn around and throw the ball, not a yard in front of it. Then he could have literally just fallen forward. The screenshots don't necessarily do it justice because there were guys coming in pretty quick. But if he just falls forward, chances are he gets it. He tries to run backwards. It was the dumbest thing ever. The Patriots Twitter was electric. It was like, get these terrorists off my football team. That's what everyone was calling these guys. Between him and Ramondre Stevenson, they're just trying to cannibalize the game.
Why are they not giving Travion Henderson the ball?
I don't know. They probably will. It was like last week. It's okay. Ramondre fumbles. All right, let's bring in Gibson. Gibson fumbles. All right, let's bring in Travion Henderson. It's like we're just rotating through. You run till you fumble.
But Henderson's the best. I think he's the best running back they have. He's the best in pass protection. He's probably the best receiver. It's either him or Gibson. And I don't think he's ever fumbled, or maybe he's like only fumbled one time at Ohio State. If ball security is an issue, give the ball to Travion.
I liked what he said. I like what Ramondre said after the game, though. Vrabel was like, we need him. And then they asked him about that. And he's like, well, if I can't hold on to the ball, I have no value around here. You're right. Like, send you to Canada.
That's the solution.
Yeah, send him up to the CFL and see if he can hold on to the ball up there in Algonquin.
Okay. My third pick. I'm going to roll over and be a homer, Tanner. I'm going to take the Commanders -2.5 at the Falcons. I get it. There are going to be some overreactions to the Falcons because of the loss last week. I'm not picking this because I think the Falcons are a terrible team. I'm picking this for a couple of reasons. Number one, the Commanders have proven they can win with Jaden Daniels or with Marcus Mariota. And that's not me starting any conversations about is Jaden overrated. I'm just saying the system they have, it translates well to the backup. And that's something like when you get Lamar Jackson, if he goes down, Cooper Rush is coming in. What sort of carryover does that have? None at all. With the Commanders, they can still play their brand of football. You saw some changes on the offensive line. They changed out both their guards. What was the result? They ran for 174 yards in the first half, averaged 10.2 yards per carry. So that was a big success. The Commanders lead the NFL in pressure rate, which is a big deal for me because Michael Penix Jr. is the most inaccurate quarterback in the NFL. I think it's him and Caleb's number 1 and 2. And if they're actually benching him and they're actually putting Kirk Cousins out there, Kirk Cousins can't move. So the Commanders are going to get like 7-8 sacks in this game if they decide to stick Cousins out there. So I do think this is a bounce back spot for the Falcons. Like, I think they will keep it close, and the Commanders defense has given up big plays, but I think they will win this game. And just like I was talking about earlier with Vikings Steelers, if you're favored by 2.5 and I think you're going to win, chances are I'm going to take you to cover the 2.5.
Yeah, there's no bounce back in the Atlanta Falcons. This team's done. I think especially, too, as people see the Bucs get stronger and stronger and continue to win, there's no bounce back for the Falcons. They're going to be a middle-of-the-road team, just like the Carolina Panthers in the NFC South. And then the New Orleans Saints are obviously terrible. So I think as people see the Bucs win, I think we're going to see teams lose hope. And this is one of those games where Falcons may bounce back. I just don't think it happens. I don't think they're in a spot to bounce back.
Yeah, when I say bounce back, I think they'll play better than 30-0.
Yeah. They'll play harder. Okay, so my next pick, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions -8.5 against the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is going to Detroit. Again, we've seen it the past 2 weeks, these big spread numbers against the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, it worked out with the Ravens playing against them. It did not work out last week against the Packers. Packers were in a position to cover in that game, though. Like, the Packers had the game totally locked down. Bottom line is Cleveland's defense is fantastic, only giving up just over 200 yards a game, the best in the NFL right now. But on the flip side, we've seen what Detroit can do offensively. And over the course of a game, Cleveland can't hold them scoreless. That's what it comes down to, especially at home in the dome. I think this is one where we see, Cleveland get their doors blown off late, kind of like we saw in the Ravens game. It was close for a while. It looked like the spread was going to be questionable, and then the Ravens just, took over the game. And Detroit's defense also, if they get the pressure that they did on Lamar Jackson, if they get that on Joe Flacco, the Browns are not going to be able to hang around this game in any aspect. So it might be close for a quarter. If you like the Browns, I would take a maybe first quarter spread as the game gets adjusted. But what the Lions have done offensively in the past couple weeks after a really rough start has been impressive. The play calling's been much better. They have weapons all over the field. They can match the physicalness of Cleveland. This is a spot where I really like 8.5 points.
Yeah, so I don't have a pick for this game, or at least it didn't make my 5 picks here. So I'm not going to try to sway the audience one way or the other. I will just say everything you said makes sense. I really can't refute any of that. And if we get down to a talent differential, like we know where we're going with this. We know that Jared Goff, got to give him credit. Jared Goff was good on the road, which is a big deal, but he's been even better, a lot better at home in the dome. So yeah, we'll see. I think that's probably the right side of it. Haven't made my pick for that game for WSN, so I don't want to put anything out there, but can't really argue anything you said.
All right, let's hear it.
My fourth pick, I'm going to take the Jaguars +3.5 on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. So Brock Purdy has a chance to be back. If he's not, and it's still Mac Jones out there, it makes me feel even better. This is the thing with the 49ers. They're 3-0, but their wins, you get a 17-13 against the Seahawks in week 1 on a last-minute drive. You get a 26-21 against the Saints, who I think are going to have the first pick in the draft. And then you get a 1-point win as time expires against the Cardinals. So this is a 3-0 start, but it's a 3-0 by the skin of your teeth. The advanced metrics don't really like the 49ers so far. Nick Bosa just lost for the season, season-ending knee injury, I believe it is. And then on the other side of this, the Jaguars, their offense has been, it feels like they've just completely, I don't know what they've done to Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. Somehow they have made them almost useless, yet they are still 2-1. Their one loss, inexplicably, they give up a game-winning touchdown drive to Jake Browning after he threw 3 interceptions. Don't understand any of that, but their defense, that's the big thing here. Everybody, we were all expecting them to have this high-scoring, explosive offense with Liam Cohen and Travis Etienne and Brian Thomas Jr., and that's not what's happened. Their defense has been dominant. Granted, not great teams, but the 49ers offense right now is not in a great spot either. So they just got to go out and do what they have been doing. And with the weapons they have on offense, I do feel like they can be so much better than they have been. So for them to be able to lose by a field goal and still cover the spread, I do like them in the spot.
Yeah, I love this play. And this is actually my 4th spread here. I think Nick Bosa's injury really hurts the 49ers from a defensive standpoint. And then offensively, when you look at San Francisco, they're just kind of playing clock control, running the ball with Christian McCaffrey, getting to him out of the backfield. If there's a spot here where you just say, hey, we can't let somebody beat us, it's Christian McCaffrey. And if you key on him, I don't think the talent around him right now in this current iteration, outside of Ricky Pearsall, is good enough to put up enough points to win by more than a field goal in this game. So I see this line dropping, getting closer to 3 by kickoff, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. I would totally expect this to be a 3-point line. I think it might be 3 at some books already.
It could be 2.5, honestly. I see it dropping pretty significantly because the Jaguars are the hot, trendy team right now, and then the San Francisco 49ers are just playing clock control and trying to escape with wins. I mean, what they did offensively against Arizona, it was like, we're just going to trust our defense in this game. We have no desire to make the big mistake. And when they had to do it down the stretch, they made the offensive drive. But overall, it was a very methodical approach on offense.
And if Brock Purdy comes back, I think Brock Purdy is better than Mac Jones, but what sort of difference is that going to make? In the opener, which is what Brock Purdy played, he's 277 yards, which is good, but 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The offense scores 17 points, and it takes a game-winning touchdown drive with 1 minute left in the game to do it. So how big of an impact is that going to have? Probably not that big of one.
Their approach with Mac Jones and Brock Purdy is pretty similar. Yeah. Again, Mac can make throws down the field to Ricky Pearsall. So can Brock. Like I kind of put them in the same area. Brock's better, obviously, but you don't really change your offense much between quarterback and quarterback. So I expect a similar look this week.
My final pick, I'm going to take the Rams minus 3.5 against the Colts.
Me too. We're taking those 2 games. Oh my God.
There you go.
Right.
So this is actually, I think this is the one I'm the least confident in. I don't quite know because I want to give the Colts respect. The Colts are the only team in the NFL that's 3-0 against the spread. Don't know if you know that. And they've been really, I mean, Daniel Jones is like the most efficient quarterback in the NFL right now. And you and I both have talked about for the last 2 years, Shane Steichen's a good coach. He just really hasn't been given anything to work with when it's Anthony Richardson or there was Flacco at one point and Sam Ellinger. It's like, well,
they've played nobody though.
They have not. They have played nobody. That is a big part of it. So with Jones and the Colts' metrics, we're at the point in the season where metrics do matter a lot for these spreads. So I feel like you're seeing that be accounted for. And with the Rams, I mean, I get it. They didn't start the year super hot, but they did still find a way to beat the Texans. They take care of business against the Titans. That's one thing the Rams have really struggled with. They've struggled to blow out bad teams. They did it there. And then the Eagles, I know they lost. That says so much more to me about championship pedigree and the Eagles having it versus the Rams. I guess like Stafford is there, but the core of the team has changed a lot since that Super Bowl win. The Rams were up by 20-something points in that game in the third quarter. They can go out there and they can beat the Colts and they can blow them out. They're at home. I think it's going to be a fast style sort of game. McVay's still, in my opinion, maybe the best coach in the NFL. So I like the Rams.
Yeah. I mean, you look at how the Colts' one tough game went this season. against the Denver Broncos, and Denver had an 82% chance to win in the fourth quarter. At one point, they were on the Indianapolis 26-yard line, 2nd and 1, 12 minutes to go in the game, and they ended up losing that, but they had an 82% chance to win. I give credit to the Colts for being able to bounce back and respond and, fight through adversity, but 2 of their 3 wins have been against 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. So I can't necessarily get behind them yet. I need to see them not only win, but go on the road and win a big game. And this is one where, especially what happened last week to the Rams against the Eagles. Like, maybe if the Rams beat the Eagles, I'm more inclined to say the Colts are going to hang around in the game because you got the hangover from the win. But right now, I think based on what happened, you're going to see a very focused Rams football team next week. And also you can look from the flip side. We've seen it all the time too, where teams lose tight games and they just can't shake it. I just don't think that's going to be the case here.
And don't forget, the Colts win against the Broncos was a loss. The refs called leverage on it. There were 3 seconds left. It's a 60-yard field goal they missed. They call leverage, 15-yard penalty, 45-yard field goal, and they kick that to win. But without that, they lose by 2.
Yeah. But still, I mean, it was what was the field goal, though? It was
It was 60 and he missed, and then it became a 45-yarder.
Yeah, 60 and he missed. So you didn't even need, problem is they didn't even need the Broncos didn't even need the leverage call, like they didn't need to. 60 is a long field goal. You didn't need to go hit the center or whatever the leverage call was.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you get to that spot and you're just desperate to make a play and it ends up hurting you. But yeah, that's, in hindsight, that was obviously the right thing. You could have just stood there and watched and you probably would have missed.
Yeah. With rookie kicker too, I think, right?
I don't know. He might be.
I think he's a rookie kicker too. Let me see. But anyways, yeah, that's our pick. So we're on the same side of a lot of games this week.
Yeah. So we both have the Rams minus 3.5. We both have the Jags plus 3.5. We both have the Vikings minus 2.5. And then I had the Titans and the Commanders. You had the Lions and who was the last one?
I had the Lions
and the Patriots.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. That was our Sunday spreads, guys. And that's another episode of Ride the Line. We'll be back on Friday.
Guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. Tanner and I appreciate you all being here. Before you click off, make sure you do hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds. It's the easiest way to support us. Hit the subscribe button as well. To the new subscribers, we saw you guys coming in after the last videos. If you're still around here, we appreciate you joining us. Make sure you go to the comment section, leave us your thoughts on everything, and we will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.